ਅਸੀਂ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਹਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ. He doesn't need an introduction. SIKHRI, Akal Takhat movement, he's been working on it for 20, 30 years. There again. We're very happy to sponsor it because it's a topical subject, so he is very learned, and the presentation will be in English because there's a lot of young audience there, but he's fluent bilingually as well, so ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ explanation further ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੋਵੇ, I'm sure that he will do that for us. So it's going to be about 45 to 50 minutes at most in terms of the presentation, and we think we'll leave about half an hour for Q&A afterwards. Okay? So Harinder Singh ji, please. Thank you. Can everybody hear on the mic? Can it? ठीक है. दूसरा, please, just one note, telephones on silent, please. They vibrate, please. Please double check कर लो. Thank you.
Yes, there. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Garcha. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh. Couple of things. What's the agenda? Basically, I would say there are two agendas for the next hour and a half. But what it actually says in Guru Granth Sahib is that Guru Nanak started a Raj. So whatever your understanding of Raj is, you hear the term British Raj, Khalsa Raj, so it is something like that, it is something political. And Guru Nanak started a Raj. That's pretty revolutionary from the idea of where we think we are only spiritual people. Gurwani is spiritual law, which is what I'm going after, and come up with mechanisms which are not 18th century. They have to be 21st century, or then we heard 1/4 chali. So we have to imagine a system which will work for next 100 years. Not what worked in the 1920s or 1980s. Sardar Kapoor Singh, when he gave the idea from Anandpur Sahib resolution, I'm called Wakey because that's the last time we practically dreamed something bigger. It was in the realities of 1970s. जब भी कोई पॉलिटिकल थिंकर या योगे साढ़े आए थे ना, उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा सी आगे ओ यार वो 18वीं शताब्दी वांगू बनाना या 15वीं शताब्दी वो कहना है कि हुणे चल रहा हुणे करी. So you look for agamu kotra, look at what is ahead of you, not what's behind.
Okay. Anji, we've got a second mic along. Anybody ask anything further?
I appreciate both questions, but I don't want to lose the focus of the conflict today. You agree?
Firstly, thank you for everything you do. In terms of how you presented it, it's quite clear in terms of how you see the word state, the target state. In terms of getting to the target state, and it's about the least resistant, it feels like something like a new diet. Feels like the easiest way of doing it, because to try and transport something like the Agala, which feels a bit subservient at this point, feels like a very hard task.
Well, let me entertain you for a second. Not new Kak, but possibly Akal Takhat in exile. And by the way, I worked on that issue even in mid-90s, when the acting Jathedar, have you guys noticed how many acting Jathedars we have had? So even with the absurd system, they also are fearful that they pura the virtue. Like mostly they have been acting Jathedars for the last 30 years. They give up some other position and then they also make them acting of Akal Takhat, because that is easier removal technically speaking. But anyway, we actually worked on this. I also the college students of the University, Kansas, Chumbazi, with Professor Majid Singh. Look, we have had that. You know, I didn't show that slide, let me show you, and it will be very important for us to know. We had a phase in the 18th century, जो पहले ही शुरू हो गई थी. When you don't have a space, just a Darbar Sahib complex where the Akal Takhat is, the phrase will become Takht is where the Guru is. And this is why, if you want to understand for what Vatican's example, twice it has been in exile in France. And just to put it in now more blanketly, since 1980s, उन्होंने physically तोड़ना शुरू करता ना after 18th century. And then cardinal rule of warfare is if your control and command center is not under you, you have lost your mind. That's where we are. So we have to be open to that, to have a exile ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਦੋ ਬਣਾਏ ਸੀ ਹੋਰ ਫਿਰ ਪਟਨਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ how this has also been manipulated. I remember when I used to have I didn't start on reading Gurmukhi because my first language was Hindi. I remember my first Hindi Gurkha where they forced me to run path as parents like to. They mean well. I got onto it somehow. And I remember in those days we had a very old pothi of Gurmukhi. फिर मैं उन्हें रट के फिर पंजाबी पढ़नी शुरू करती ले तो अब पढ़नी नहीं होनी सी acted like I can read Gurmukhi. But I shifted to we had an old pothi or a Gurkha which was in Gurmukhi. You know ਉਹਦੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ 5 ਤਖਤ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ 4 ਤਖਤ ਲਿਖੇ ਸੀ The 5th takht which we invoke as Dabdama Sahib is a political manipulation of Punjab and Malwai politics of 1960s. Yes, you see, you just went like, yeah. So I want you to know, this is seriously what they've been doing. Punjabi politicians, Indian politicians, the Panjama Takht, you and I don't even know. By the way, it is still not ratified according to their own conventions, but functionally it operates. So this idea कि तख्त कितने होना चाहिए, दसवें बादशाह never went to it. Anandpur Sahib तो सबके शरण किया because it's an exile. It has already been ratified. Mahants who are working with other states. So we have to be very, very open. We are not married to place. We don't have an idea of sacred space in Sikh. Because we believe every place is sacred. आप पता हरी विश्वास करते हैं ना और वो तो हर तरह दे. So coming back, we must be open to. I understand heritage होती है कुछ, but remember we are not stuck. And because we've been stuck, and now we have been stuck even legally, we are suffering. So we have always had exile idea. We need to revive that. We must also be open. I used to give a wrong number, but now I'm the correct color. Those of you who've seen some of my videos, I should have said in those lines, but the correction is this. We used to live in Punjab primarily. Right? So 1849, remember that year? After that, it went even more haywire. In 1849, 95% to 99% of Sikh population lived in 50,000 square kilometers. That's the Punjab which existed under the Sikh Empire of Ranjit Singh. Now, that's 99 in 50,000 square miles. Okay. In 2025, in 20,000 square miles lives the 70% of Sikh population in Indian Punjab. 17% of population today, this is where representation comes in, lives in what I call Inspora, which is in India but outside Punjab. That's a very big component. You have to understand, though they get completely ignored in conversations. This is why in 70s, Ditt exerted their thing and developed their own DSGFC for a lot of reasons, but the idea was right. Okay. And 13% is the diaspora, people outside India. That 13% also needs to exercise restraint, at the same time dream bigger, because you are under less legal jurisdictions than other ones are. So age is samjhage na complexity. We will also see that we cannot be operating like what it was in 18th century. In fact, India and Punjab already manipulated one path. So instead of manipulation, we should be proactive. We want to clean the system. In cleaning up the system, we need to figure out how do we create the representation of the Panth. Where else can the Takht be? Because Takht have been outside of Punjab. Two of them are still outside of Punjab. Right? So that's the diaspora nuts, by the way, by definition.
My question is related to actually the word Sromani Gurdwara Papanthit. So to you that's the eminence, you mean Okay? Do you think it will work if we form Gurdwara Prabandhak committees in different parts of the world, like one in Europe, one in Americas, one in Africa, like they have done one in Delhi, like you said? Will it work better? Will it make the Sikhs together, or will it divide? Will it give us the opportunity to seek answers to our problems, which are maybe not related to a background? Will it bring the bunch together, or will it split the bunch?
It would definitely create better competencies if we do it diligently. But also, to go back more explicitly to जो आपकी पूछा, उससे operative word है गुरुद्वारा प्रभा. Problem है हो गया, even SGPC गुरुद्वारा प्रभा को अलावा बाकी सब कुछ भी करना है. यही होता साढ़े गुरुद्वारे आज. So I would say, when I said locally come up with a better governance based on this mechanism, right? So what has your Paji Pyare of the Kimwar, other than ceremonial works on Amrit Day or Nagar Kirtan? We have to make them functional. What does it mean to have a Jathedar of your Gurdwara? What idea of Akal Takht will come? Basically, all our Gurdwaras are what I call lower courts. Akal Takht is like a Supreme Court. It's an analogy. Analogies fail, I also understand, it just to explain this idea. So don't expect Supreme Court to be very functional if your lower courts are also utterly dysfunctional. But here you can try to make your lower court more functional based on the principles of the mechanisms we discussed today. ये generally allegiance भगवान का हरेक नहीं खोलना, but जोड़ा ये गुरु को allegiance ही नहीं दे रहे हैं, वो किम्मे ये decision ले. This is where the crux of the problem is. You remember the Sakhi, and I'm going to invoke it here. We are very inclusive people. But Akal Takht is not about inclusivity, Akal Takht is about governance. And Dasle Pasha movie, unada yaar hai, unada dost hai Dalla. ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ you know Guru Gobind Pasha used to stay in his house, he's a Chaudhary. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ. But ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਸ ਮਾਮਲੇ 'ਚ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਮੈਂ ਪੈਰਾਫਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿਆ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ. This Khalsa is Khalsa, even I had to submit to it. ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ confusion. Asi submission to the higher authority of the Panth. They are the ones who can be decision makers and deliberators on behalf of the Panth. Everyone else supports them, which is why we need everyone. I want जितने भी जितने इतने बैठे हो तुसी competency develop करो जबरदस्त. You know, like we need technology now to come up with some opinion makings, right? We worked on it in the first 2 years that we realized that सिखा का इंटरेस्ट है इस चीज होता जब जत्थेदार बदलना होना सिर्फ उसमें एक्टिव होते थे. This is not about जत्थेदार लाता, just to make it more explicit. This is about how do you want to install a जत्थेदार. This is why people have been asking me कि ये बारे कुछ नहीं बोल रहे जत्थेदार तो लाता. मैं क्या यार कितनी भी दुनिया में जो तुसी किसी ने install कर सकते हो टी install भी कर सकते हो. This is how it works. Question is, who is qualified to become जत्थेदार? We should be working on that. What is the mechanism to hold that authority and that accountability? So coming back ji, Gurdwara Prabandh जिन्ना भी है, भावे ultimately SGPC है. SGPC is only for Punjab by the way, just so you know. 186 members ने होते. when election ते गल्ला हो रही है, I'm very clear on it. Those who want to change it, I'm like okay. 120 सीटां हैं total, just so you know. सारियां पंजाब दियां ने, और हरियाणा की complexity आ गई because they have their own committee. Chandigarh दी है, and that's it. Even Himachal नहीं भी. I think एक सीट की गल कर रहे थे, and Himachalis are not talking about making their own. Jammu Kashmir is not included; they have their own committee. We already have multiple committees. In fact, committees must be local. The problem is the accountability of the committee, which is where Akal Takht comes in. If this was sovereign status, functionally, this is where accountability will rest. This is where a dispute resolution will happen. This is where what should Sikhs do will happen. Things which affect Sikhs as well as things which affect globe. We have all to play and talk about what happens with AI or what happens in peace mechanisms of the globe. This is what we used to do, right? The reason we are not able to do that now, and we are relying on others to do it, and some Sikhs are trying to do from other organizations, because we don't have this. We have lost this. It's systematically undone. We have to redo it, but nobody in this area Just like SGPC has done that, we have to learn from that. Nobody working on behalf of the Sikhs should believe that they are this. That's where the problem is.
Thank you also like to keep on that. But I suppose my question is, do you think that an India-based structure and system is effective in the overall governance of what is that of a global community?
I thought I've already answered that clearly so many times. No. I mean, it's not a...
Alternative, I suppose.
It's not... Alternative is to actually have a Akal Takht as a functioning body. That's the only alternative. Doesn't matter. You have to be in some physical space now. So, in exile maybe, but eventually should it be here? I don't know. We have to discuss these things. And this is not a what if question. This is why I was driving more toward process idea. If we can come to an agreement on this part, then where Akal Takht needs to be for a particular duration becomes a very easy solution. Our problem is we are not in agreement on the process, because the process has been systematically dismantled. So it'll become a moot issue. 10वें पातशाह कदे गए नहीं उस complex कीते ना किन्ने कम. Temporarily we can be in exile, that's what I'm trying to say today, so Catholic. But that is our space, he reclaimed it. 9वें पातशाह वेले वो चली गई सी साडे कोलों. उन्ना वातक तो बस साडे कोल आ गई सी. तख्त खालसा उत्थे आ गया सी. What is our place we must not lose. And if we lose it temporarily, it's okay, because 10वें पातशाह himself showed it. कि अनंतपुर साहब भी छड़ना पे तो छड़ना है, सारा लिटरेचर चला जावे, प्रवाद चला जावे, right? This is विछोड़ा ना. वो ऐने नहीं है साखी सबसे बड़ी. At the cost of not losing relationship with मित्र प्यारे दो हाल मुरीदा ना कर. Everything else we can give up. Not relationship with you. Now reverse engineer that. If we have an incredible relationship with the one, everything else can be brought back. And it was. Our problem is a relationship hani meri vargiyan pipliyan surta wada rolo ganna mariyan te kam thodi ho gaya. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੁੜਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹ ਕਰ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ. ਬਾਕੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੀਪੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਪ੍ਰਾਇਮਰੀਲੀ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ. ਐਂਡ ਡੋਂਟ ਸੇ ਦੇਰ ਓਨਲੀ ਅਕਾਲੀਸ. ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡੀ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ. Like I'm working with some of them who want to fight SGPC election. ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨਾ. ਦੇਖੋ ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ, SGPC ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰ ਰਹਾ. ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹੀ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਜੋ ਕਰਦੇ थे. We are changing one autocrat to another autocrat, and we have seen this in the last 30 years outside of SGPC. So I want to come back to Gurdwara's inspiration. Space does not matter at the cost of losing relationship. That relationship with the one, with the Vaheguru, with the Oankar, is embodied in Guru Granth and Guru Panth as a mechanism. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤਗੜੀ ਬਣਾਊਗਾ relationship, ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਭੇਜ ਜੂ. This is why the warrior in Gurbani is ਜਾਕੋ ਹਰ ਰੰਗ ਲਾਗੂ ਇਸ ਜੁਗ ਮੈਂ ਸੋ ਬਈਅਤ ਸੂਰਾ. ਇਹਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਲੇਤੇ 'ਚ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਰੰਗ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੜਿਆ, ਮੈਂ then I will fight. I will not be warrior. There's a big difference. Fighters are trigger happy. Warriors are well trained to use it as a last resort. This is the discipline.
My question is around the power bases that exist within the ARPA.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? I end up.
My question is about power bases that actually exist now within ARPA. So in your opinion, who the top 3 most influential Sikh leaders who could actually lead to change? Because if they're united, the top 3, that should surely be around about, say, 60% of our fund. And that's a huge power base. And I know it's been based around finances, because money drives a lot of things in these bars, and I feel it's driving a lot of things in the Gurdwara in India and Pakistan. I was lucky enough to open Pakistan this time last year. And I saw it that time, and it breaks my heart how we are actually exporting a big day. But top 3 influential Sikhs that exist at the moment, they have a duty of care for us and for the Gurdwara side by preserving the true message, which is the net of our needs.
I appreciate the pain and the spirit where this question is coming from, but please give me, and I apologize if it upsets you, but this is not the Sikh paradigm. That's exactly what I've been trying to talk about. The number 1, number 2, number 3 influential leaders of Gurdwara kind, they did not join Gurdwara, including the Sikh ones. So you only know one name. I can guarantee you, maybe kisi ne kada na aur pada ho, number 5 will pass listed or 11. This is the point. We are now there with, we know one, Bhai Rana, who became Guru Angad, right? But please entertain me for a second. That's why I apologize up front. From a worldly paradigm, you're absolutely right. But even within your question, you said influence, and then finance is related to it. They are not the Sikh leaders. But some of them, even from Guru Nanak onward, when they saw that there were some who actually mean what Guru does and follow what Guru does, they supported that cause. That's how Nankana Sahib was established. We know that name, but he was not a Sikh leader. We also know the name, people who donated large sums at multiple camps, like Lakhi Shah Bajara bhi hai. Just state ne kya, we will not allow last rights, so they kya, mera kariyat pe chala lo, koi baat nahi. So leadership from a Sikh angle is a little bit different. And I can also, I skipped the slide which I should say how political it gets, so that we use this opportunity to get a little bit more political. Because जिन्हों ने काम करना ना पे डर लादी कोड़े काम, तो मैं 18वीं शताब्दी का एग्जाम्पल दे देना कि इस शताब्दी ने में करता जिन्हों ने करना वो डिसाइड करेंगे. So when we had to make decisions in crisis, look at the leadership which make decisions. You know what the primary decisions are? They're heavily political. Because this is governance. You know, it gets crazy. You remember 18th century Europe? I mean, it's not like today. So in comparison, their decisions were primarily about how do we organize, how do we loot the state who's looting people so we can finance our own systems. In some cases, it's reprimand, that they are selling us out and we need to assassinate them. Like literally, that's what it is. So I would say that when we are coming back, let's come back to traditional ideas. Ito sab to pehla. Ye jehde Gurmani di line hai na, the inspiration in Sikhi is from Bani, from Sabha. We will never, I started out with, we will never be able to fully live it. But those who are committed to live it in their flawed ways, in their fraud ways, they need to come together and figure this out. That's always been the case. I like to say as a reminder, people forget this, you know, Guru Nanak did not train the perfect people. Unka kehte si sanu sab kuch pata hi hai. This is why he wrote, I'm working with the downtrodden and I'm not copying the establishment. Like literally he wrote that, but so carries. Right? This is a Vani ki read. He said, jede nichi ruvat niche ne, the jinna nu koi rights ne, to unna nu bete kar rahe hain. So that's what we need to be doing. If you look for influence, you can see it. Arjeshwar Pal put out a report, you can Google it. He put together a list of top 50 influential people from the perspective you were asking, from a Sikh angle and Punjab angle. But I can tell you, none of that will be fun. Because unhona game different hai. We are playing a different game. This is a game of law, that's a game of influence, the word you use. So sada game kuch ho rahega, itte ta aur tarike naal phedna koi. But I get what you're saying. A little side note of Pakistan. When it comes to the situation of Sikhs in Pakistan, it's horrible. Yes? So, jo tourism shuru ho gaya na Sikh ka pichle 15 saal baad, they are just abusing the hell out of it now. there is nothing good happening for Sikhs in Pakistan. Just like you have seen what has happened in Afghanistan, I'm seeing this in the last 70 years where I've been operating here since 2006. It is literally being dismantled one step at a time. There is no governance, there is no prahi likhai. In fact, if somebody is really interested, the first president of PSGPC now lives in UK. Figure it out, go talk to me and tell you who ki asliye. And he's a politician from there to understand the system and how it's being manipulated through Pakistani government. So it happens in every government, just like Indian government is manipulating the money in India.
Just a quick question. So with the one that you just showed, which is brilliant to have the awareness, first of all, that's how it should be, or should be. Do you think it's necessary to be sovereign ourselves before we think about sovereign state? That's the first question. Sorry. Second question is, you said to dream about this, at least start dreaming. Once the dreaming has happened, more practical steps anywhere for us to dream as individuals.
Thank you. Okay. Let me start with the second. Practical steps are for those who want to do the work. You are here for awareness. But I appreciate you came, at least this is awareness. But transportation doesn't happen with awareness. It happens with those people who want to work on it for a while. Now, what does it mean to work on? ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੁਛ ਹੈ. Developing competencies, believing in the idea. Practical steps are those. When enough people in competency come and they're willing to give only allegiance not to their Jatnebandi or their group, then you're ready to operate in power. And my number, practical number, I want to share with you now because that I've been calculating and working on. There are 30 million Sikhs, right? This is how practical it is, and this is the number one challenge according to me. 30 million da 0.00001% is 300. एक interpretation है बिल्ले के एक. This is how practical I'm making it, yeah? कि we don't even have 0.00001% of our current COM, self-identified Sikhs, who are willing to privately and publicly give allegiance only to the Guru Granth and Guru Panth and work towards it. So we have our work cut out. 300 batta hoga pabad mein ja dunga. Because that's how they do. Right? Okay. Now at the same time, I want to also say this. The good news is, we have a support of possibly 30 million. But those 300 need to develop some serious core competence, like very, very serious. And then things can happen. This is where Gurdwara really helps. Bani ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਜੋ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਬੈਟਰ ਸਮਝਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਕਦਮ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਓ ਤੇ ਆਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਲੇਟ ਹੈ. You know, if we are not doing anything, we are ਕੀ ਕਰਿਆ. So we have to have that. ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ session ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, let me repeat that phrase which we repeat publicly in our ardas, and I picked the phrase ਵਿਵੇਕ ਦਾ, ਵਿਸਾਹ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਦਾ. ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤਿੰਨ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਨੇ, ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ, ਕੇਸ ਦਾ, ਰਹਿਤ ਦਾ. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਤਿੰਨ ਲਿਖੇ ਨੇ. You know what they are? ਵਿਵੇਕ is discernment. This is a competency problem. How are you going to discern if you don't understand the nuancing? And how are you going to go figure it out? You got to have serious competencies. That's vivek. ਵਿਸਾਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਟਰਸਟ ਕਰਦੇ, obviously your trust is broken. This is why our trust is broken with the people we work with also. And if you don't believe this, 1980s and 1990s, the even militancy movement ware, Dr. Joyce Pettigrew wrote a whole article on this. How did mistrust become so common among Sikhs? Which मतलब वो mistrust जो तोड़नी है, वो नाम ते बाणी लेके आओगी साढ़े पास. I'm very convinced of this because that's what Mani teaches us. जब तुसी गुरु दे नहीं trust कर पा रहे हो, तुसी जेडे गुरु दे बंदे हैं उत्ते कितने कर सकते हो? Because we live in a culture of now amplified culture of disinformation, right? Third ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਫਿਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ confidence ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਾ। So ਵਿਵੇਕ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ, ਵਿਸਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ, and you know this, when there is competency, when there is trust, there's a confidence that will get. If you're interested more in this, Dr. Jaswant Singh Neki has written almost 2 pages on these 3 phrases. I highly recommend if you're interested in developing. So that was the second part. First part of the answer here, absolutely. If you do not exercise self-sovereignty, you cannot work on sovereignty. There is no way to bypass that. Oh, indeed, no. But you have to possess something in order to amplify it. Otherwise, it's only PR, which is what it seems mostly. That's what you're not getting. You always need marketing and PR, but you better have your R&D in place.
Harinder, can I just ask you to just develop a little bit on self-sovereignty, slightly more, shall I say, simplistic, and for some of the youngers and men in this country?
Slightly more. Okay, break it down. Sovereignty means we have talked about freedom. Let's call it freedom. Simplest word. In English, we use liberation, emancipation. Gurbani is like good, uses the word mukti as well. And what is that freedom? If you want to assure freedoms of anyone else, while you are not exercising within you, not physically, you may be enslaved physically, but within you, you must feel free. This is why Asa ki war was always a Sangati Nitne, if I may call it there. Nitne nasi personally karde si, because the way you need to do it at this point in your life may be different than he needs to do it. Or you may not even do it the same way. Now we discussed that at 5 days or say ki jo karna karo yaar, wo badi personal ka. But in Sangat we did Asa ki war. You know why? Because in Asa ki war, it is actually freeing us spiritually and emotionally, and then it's teaching us how to do that in society. देखो अगली बार श्लोक पढ़ोगे देखिए कितने जबरदस्त लागू कर दी है. That's self-sovereignty when your mind starts to become free. मन बनना free होता. फिर वो गलत कर देते कि पढ़े जब thoughts की पर free होंगे. Otherwise, we are quoting a book or quoting a law. You know what a Sikh history is? Yeah, that law is fine, but we're going to change that law. This is how you become free. You cannot have free thoughts if your mind is not free. Tahi 95% of Shabdas in Gurbani are about how to make mind free. Okay? And then when your mind is free, you have free thoughts, free-flowing, we can say, then how can any society keep you enslaved? This is why Professor Puram Singh wrote that a culture Guru had created through Naam. That's the word I wanted to come to. That's the name of our culture at Sikh. That the Naam culture Guru had created, it awakened people that they could not remain slaves anymore. And most battles of slavery end up in defeat. But they kept fighting for it and they became free. This is, by the way, maybe other than 2 or 3 people here, I'm not guessing, if 90% people sitting here, most likely your forefathers or foremothers became Sikh sometime between 14th to 17th century, 15th to 17th century. Because they valued this, what we just talked about. They were being killed for changing religion, but they said this religion is freeing us. So, self-sovereignty is that. That's Sabhang. When it's self-elimination, or Sanskrit the word Swayambhu, which means now you don't have a borrowed experience of the divine. You have a personal and intimate experience of the divine. That's how you become self. And then this is why Bhagat Singh became free. And they said, you may call me Chamar, but मैं खलास हो गया, free हो गया. So freedom from within is essential in order to secure freedom in physical space?
You know, something just came to my mind. This freedom they got keeping that internally and in externally as well. I remember some Trustees Jita lecture. We were younger, in the 70s, okay, and he said कि अपने नौजवानों में होता ना जकड़ो कि उनके मंच पे क्या आवे किसी हथकड़ियाँ ते बीड़ियाँ तोड़ के भज जाइए, right? So the Panth is related to Guru Granth Sahib, absolutely. Atal Vishwash, and at the same time the Panth is also related to initiation into the Khalsa Panth by taking Khande Bate Ram.
Yeah.
So if you go and take Khande Bate the Amra, it should bring you closer to your brotherhood. Ik Parva, Ik Panth, Ik Granth, Ik Nishan, okay? But when people go, a lot of youngsters come and talk to me, and some have walked up. मुझे तो हमेशा शक्ल जानते नहीं ये उन्होंने ऐसा बनना चाहता ना with this so-called maryada, let maryada, hukum nawaz, things like that they want to walk out. दूसरे पास से एक और अकेला simple अपना maryada dasta, and that's very few. How do we overcome that? ताकि everybody जरा अमृत शिकंदा है वो एक मर्यादा दसे. Not talk about you can't wear red color, you can't wear green color, you have to sit at this angle, things like that. Isn't that the biggest problem at the moment?
I dare not claim what the biggest problem is. It's definitely one of the problems. Just know that when you are enslaved, even when you are going through ceremonies, nothing makes sense. So let's not make that the biggest issue. We already said we are, from a governance angle, in crisis. ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਪਾਸ ਉਹ ਨਿਕਲਦੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਨੇ ਨਾ. We had jathabandis before too. This is why the criteria was not कि अमृत जिमें आज मैं गल करा. Please excuse me, मैं किसी ਨੂੰ sideline नहीं कर रहा, so I'm going to use multiple just to explain. But ਤੁਸੀਂ अमृत जत्थे चो छकिया, टकसाल तो छकिया, ਸਿੰਘ ਸਭੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਛਕਿਆ, ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿਣ ਵੀ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋਇਆ. ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਐਟ ਬਾਈ ਲੈਵਲ. I was asked one time to organize Amrit Sanchar. But ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇਸ ਮਾਰ and then add Nihang Jathebandis. I don't want to include or exclude anyone. We basically, which school you came from, why do we dwell so much on that? It's not about which school you came from. ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਜੌਬ ਜਦ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ CV ਤੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹੋ. ਤੁਸੀਂ 40 ਸਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ. ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਛਕੋ ਯਾਰ, ਹਰੇਕ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੋਕੋਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ. The way they teach economics at University of Chicago is different than Oxford. You don't say Chicago is wrong. It's a different approach. And let's not get worked up on that. Some people want more discipline. Let them have it. Some want less. Just once you have, we lost this, remember? And even when we had this, ਇਹ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਦਾ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਤਾ ਕਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਪੰਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦ ਗੁਲਾਮੀ ਹੋਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ. ਜਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੱਡਾ ਏਜੰਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ ਛੋਟੇ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਤੇ ਲਾਉਂਗੇ. ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ੇਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ. ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਥੋੜੀ ਕਰਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. ਮਤਲਬ ਲਿਟਰਲੀ ਲੈਟ ਮੀ ਗੋ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ 18th century and then make it very very like direct. ਇਹ ਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜੱਸਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਆਲੂ ਵਾਲੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਜੱਸਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਰਾਮਗੜੀਆ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਨਵਾਬ ਕਪੂਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਬਾਬਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਜਾਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਹੋਰ 100 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਭਾਈ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਭਾਈ ਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਡੇਰਾ ਸੀ. ਕਿਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ. ਉਸ ਡੇਰੇ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਵਾਟ? If somebody wants a ਪੰਥਿਕ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ, ਉਹਦੀ ਆਰਟੀਕੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, follow it. Like I have had to figure this out ਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ ਫਿਰ. ਕਰਦੇ ਕੀ ਸੀ ਉਹ? ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ 10,000 ਜਨਾਨੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਲੇਵ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਲਿਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਛਡਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਅੱਜ ਪਤਾ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੈ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਸਲੇਵਰੀ ਔਰ ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਸਲੇਵਰੀ। ਜੇ ਸਾਡਾ 300 ਬੰਦਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਠੋਕ ਦਵੇ, ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗੀ। So basically we have lost our mettle, let's admit it. We got to work on our mettle. We can make any issue a big issue, but when your system is broken, let's not focus on that. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਓ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੀ ਚਲੀਏ ਚੰਗੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬੜੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਨੇ। ਲਾਓ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਤਾਂ ਲਾਓ ਕੋਈ। I mean, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੰਥਿਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਸਐਗਰੀਮੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਬਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਲਾਓ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ। You know who becomes a critic? The one who has watched movies for 20 years. ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਲ ਮੂਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਟਿਕ ਕਰਨ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਟਿਕਸ। Then they also look at improvement, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ suggestions ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਕੀ ਨੇ। So anyway, sorry I've just swapped that out with it, but I'm very practical on this. We can keep talking about maryadas, we can keep talking about grunts, meats, all kharistans. They're all very important, and I'm not equating them, please. I'm just saying this is what we focus on. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਆ, let's talk about ਬਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ। ਸੈਕੰਡਰੀ ਟੈਕਸਚਰ ਹੈ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੰਪਲੀਫਾਈ ਕਰੋ, ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਬਾਣੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਟੂ ਬੀ, ਬਾਣੀ ਮਸਟ ਨਾਟ ਬੀ ਸਿੰਪਲੀਫਾਈਡ, ਬਾਣੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸਡ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ, ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਸਿੰਪਲੀਫਾਈ ਕਰੋਗੇ? ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਨਾਲਾਈਜ਼ ਹੀ ਰਹੋਗੇ, ਜੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਪੈਣਗੀਆਂ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਨਾਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਪਾ ਗਏ, ਸੀਰੀਅਸਲੀ ਬੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ 'ਚ। ਵੀ ਆਰ ਸਪੋਜ਼ ਟੂ ਸਿੰਥੇਸਾਈਜ਼ them. Now we're analyzing, which is a big problem. So coming back, secondary text which na Baba Banda Singh Bahadur ware, when he was being sent by Dasve Pacha, this is why it's important. I'm always looking for ki sadi history which Sikh source ki kya. So I've been reading, Sir Gurmukh Singh Bhatia na Nandi Piwa Ganandi and as you said, I've been reading with Baba Banda Singh Bahadur a lot because, you know, he did many things which we struggle with today. And only in the last 3 years I started reading Amarnama. Every other source I had read before that was a Mughal source or a European source. So मैं Sikh source की कहता हूँ, वो लभ्या है, it's in Farsi. Amarnama is written by Tati Nathma, who was a Tati from Guru Hargobind Sahib period. He's traveling with Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. Again, if more debate ki authenticity ki or secondary issue, but we learn from it now. ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਜੇ 10ਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਰਡ ਵੀ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਫਾਰਸੀ 'ਚ, ਉਹਦੀ ਡੇਟ ਵੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੌਣ ਭੇਜਿਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ 5 ਸਿੰਘ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਮਰਦ। Now let's talk about that for a second, and let's destroy patriarchy within it also and masculinity, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਬੜੀ misunderstood ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ। 5 ਦਾ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ 5 ਡਾਇਲੀ ਉਹ 5। So you need people to guide, guidance ਇੱਕ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੀ। That's why the 5 became so big. ਹੁਣ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਰਡ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਵਰਡ, ਮੈਂ ਮਜ਼ਾਕ 'ਚ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ JNU ਦੇ ਨਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ, ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਉਹ ਪੋਪੂਲਰ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। It's actually a term which was used in 1708 September in Amarnama. ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਉਹਦੇ free। ਫਰੀ ਕੌਣ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਆ ਨਾ, ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਜਸਟ ਮੀਨਸ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ, ਪ੍ਰੋਟੋਕੋਲ। ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਇਜ਼ ਨਾਟ ਐਂਡ ਗੋਲ, ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਇਜ਼ ਵੇਅਰ ਯੂ ਸਟਾਰਟ, ਇਟਸ ਅ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ। ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਫਰੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਨੇ ਫਰੀ। ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਵਾਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਬਾਬਾ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਪਿੰਡਰਾਵਾੜੇ ਸੰਤ ਪਿੰਡਰਾਵਾੜੇ ਕੀ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਦੀ। ਲੈਟਸ ਸੀ ਅ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟੀਕਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ. But he's free that he's able to operate in that manner even at Akal Takhat without having to force his training there. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਨਾ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੰਪਲੈਕਸਿਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਲੀਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਨੂੰ। The real leadership is that. ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਉਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਿਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਸਿੰਘ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਫਿਰ ਵਰਡ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਮਰਦ। ਮਰਦ is not a man. ਮਰਦ means strong. ਮਰਦ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਸਟਰੈਂਥ ਆ ਬੜੀ। ਮਰਦ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਖੱਡੇ ਚੱਕ ਦੋ, ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾਰੀਅਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਐਸਪੈਕਟ ਹੈ। सो वहाँ पकड़ रहे हो बर्द अगम बड़ा दे अगली बार पढ़ो के ना कल मैन ना बना दे गुरबाणी भी बड़ा किया रहा कि मैन हमें का इशू नहीं असी अजूनी बड़े एंगल चो आए हैं ये वो जिन्हें स्ट्रेंथ ले ली गुरु को सो मर्द कामिल मर्द वर्ड डॉक्टर इकबाल ने गुरु नानक साहब ने भी यूज किया मर्द कामिल द अनपैरेलल मैन perfect person is what he meant to write so ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ यूज ਹੋਈ ਹੈ phrase so I'm trying to say ਕਿ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਦ ਲਈ so ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਸੀ free individuals with great trainings we must appreciate like when I come across somebody who's trained where I would agree with them मैं तो बड़ा मजाक करके यार ये जी पता लगी बंदे दी and that's a core right when you appreciate that somebody's really worked at it so what if you don't agree with it? So let's not make that an issue. My ask is that.
First of all, I would like to thank you very much for coming here to speak. I've watched your podcast with Bearer Biceps, the 2 ones that you've done. So it's very exciting for me to hear you speak today. I just want to touch on a couple of things. One of them is, I don't know if you've heard of Bhai Jabraj Singh from Basic SIKHRI. He used to extensively talk about the issues within Gurdwara in the UK, Canada, US. And there's one thing he said which struck me is that Sikhs from the Guru's time, they would not recognize the Gurdwara of today if they walked into one of them. And he also explained the need for a Panch Bihari-like system within the Gurdwara today. And also, secondly, what organizations and what actions are you personally taking today to change the mechanisms of the Gurdwara?
Well, that's public. So I reference.
Sorry, I did just touch on a few things.
Yeah, you can go read about that. Some of the public work is on this website.
Okay.
And others are on SIKHRI is not pretty public about that. You saw on podcast about here. Other things you work with people internally. If they don't want to be identified, so you work with them. So that part is easy answer. I'm very public about it. You can check it out. And I don't think that's as important to be honest. The more important question is what do you want to know? मैं इतने को recruit करने नहीं आया हूँ to make you pick guy. So that's the question you should be asking. What's up? कि मैं केड़ा रिश्क करना वाहिगुरु के नाम ये करना भी है कि नहीं ते जे करना करो ते जेड़ा वो सिख मॉडल राय करूँगा वो ये भी कर ये मतलब ये नहीं कि बाकी मॉडल ठीक नहीं है ये भी मैं क्या करूँ गुरु नानक दे घर दे विच ये आ गया कि private and public comes together. So, this is how it's done. So, the first part of what Jagat said, don't mind me saying this, I knew very spent 1 year under me. Okay? We have to be careful. What he says is one data point. What I'm saying is one data point. What some Maskeen ji said, maybe we can give him 5 data points because he was much more learned, right? Baba Janaz. So people are excellent Sikhs, people are good Sikhs, but they are not equivalent over the Gurus. And neither can anyone. And anyone, if I say nobody should be claiming they have figured it out fully. Guruਆਂ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਰਿਆਸ਼ਤ ਕਰਦਾ 10ਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਪੜਾ they all respect. I mean, we already know, even the Wanga, they come to see Wanga ki gal kar rahe ho, but this is the key. You know, Pai Lena wants to meet Guru Nanak. He comes to his village and doesn't recognize him. So that's the state of affairs of an individual. We all have preconceived notions of what Guru is. In fact, Guru disturbs that preconceived notion. That's the whole point. So it is not just कि गुरुद्वारे वाले तो पढ़ो लेंदे हो अपना पहला अपने आप को पढ़ो वो भी बेचारे लग गए हो इन्हें सारे मनी करप्ट होते गुंडे ने थोड़े बहुत so look into yourself do more that self sovereignty thing is what I would do after I used to talk to about this जिक्की बैठा हुए इन्हें कर याद बस मैं तुम मिनट फिर रिपोर्टिंग भी कर रहा सी I would say take the data point see with that data point what learning you are getting including this and extrapolate that on how to become a force for good. The force for criticism, we have way too much. We need to minimize that. We need to become force for good. ਤੁਸੀਂ build ਕਰੋ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ, construct ਕਰੋ. Asagi Wa teaches us that. Tamal the example ਦਿੱਤਾ. Professor Poon Singh has written, Guru Nanak is busy demolishing things in Asagi Wa and then rebuilding them to what's needed. Oh, the second part, let's focus on that. What to build. जब ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਮਾੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ demolish ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹ deconstruction ਵੀ ਉਹ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, would we have to build also. ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਨੇ parallel institutions ਬਣਾਏ, disruptions definitely ਕੀਤੀ. So let's go towards that. Okay. Build things. Work on self-sovereignty and extrapolate that sovereignty to the local realities. And sometimes it can become a Punjab or global reality. We are all struggling. The jury is out of us. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲੀ ਦਿਖਾਤਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਤਾਂ 1805 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੰਦ ਪਿਆ It all came very close in 1920s with an incredible resurgence. We had a renaissance, but even then we were not able to get governance right. So we had so many good people there, so many institutions came alive. So we fought for our rights, we got the rights, we freed South Asia idea at Pakistan, but we still didn't get our governance right. So some people have to really focus on the punk is what I'm saying from a governance side.
Thank you.
Just on that governance level, is there any example where you see today's world that encourages you, which you see as good governance, whether it be a political party across the world, whether it be a religion or a philosophy or a movement that encourages you that some change can happen? Obviously, you talked about we have to take with wisdom to manifest an idea or to bring an idea and manifest that and now achieve fixed plan. But does anything in the world today, given its current bearings, encourage you or positivity, or do we just have to manifest this ourselves and see?
Of course, I study those models. We should look at stateless people models. Because right now we are stateless. कई बार ना state दे सिखां ने बड़ी पैड़ी आते हर example यहूदियों का ले ले. Without understanding कि यहूदियों का system किस तरह था. We don't have a presidency in US which actually from a Rothschild group endorsed the creation of Israel. You have to see what it takes. So we need to look at stateless people. And there are organizations, in fact, UNPO is partly that. I used to look at that. Then I looked at spiritual communities. The problem with the spiritual communities is they don't really, I'm not able to learn much from them because they're a one-man show. You know, whatever the head says happens, including with the Church of, I spent a week with them. I went to study there. Yeah. Because I looked at 67% of the Mormons give this month. This is how they have the funding to go do what they need to do. So that is inspiring, right? Sarda bhi kisi village da hunda si, but we are totally lost it because in 10% chhaddo 1% bhi nahi kar pande. It's a struggle. So it's not a problem because I don't want to say people don't want to give. I think people are givers. It's just accountability and mechanisms are lost. So when you don't have a system, don't ask this to anyone. You don't know my agenda either. You evaluate and you see this speaks to you, there seems to be some transparency, legitimacy, then support it. Use common sense. When you don't have systems, everything is corrupt. It's just a matter of degrees, right? So coming back, the modalities are, yes, we can take inspiration from our confirmation, but it's a one-man show. Mormon is a one-man show. You know, Ismailis, one-man show. Democratize, and I'm not saying democracy, distributed leadership model, decentralized leadership model नहीं मिल रहा है आपका. ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੁਝ tribal communities which they are also struggling, their treaties are not being upheld anymore. So at the end of the day, you can say कि अफगानिस्तान ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ with their lower jirga. So coming back, we have small models, learn consensus building. If you are serious about this, there are trainings available. We also proposed trainings 10 years ago how to do that. And then you have to come to your own indigenous system. Number one inspiration for Sikhs has always been Shabad. And now, I cannot stress this enough. You cannot bypass these two things if you want inspiration from a Sikh perspective. Shabad is to develop understanding. Naam is to experience. ਇਹ ਦੋ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਚ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਇਧਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ inspiration ਚ ਆਉ. So we have to, if we are following Guru system, Shabad Islam, Shabad Islam, Shabad Islam. And so by Maharaj Singh's example is a good one here. He was the head of a data. 150 years ago, roughly 170 years ago now, I've reckoned 2025 ho gaya. And when annexation happened of Punjab, annexation formally declared the hoisi, but when they said two Anglo-Sikh wars of the and he's a head of a dera. Deras used to do trainings on Naam and Shabad. Bata example de rahe ho. Aajkal apna dera jo marji kar liye. Whatever they're doing, if they do this is good. This is how I look at it. If they're not doing it, then don't support them, support something else. Bhai Maharaj Singh said at that time, he heard Dalip Singh, Panjsaw. So this is a crisis situation. Na? All your training has to do something to address the crisis. Otherwise, what good is the training? He says someone else can run the data now. And he appointed someone else. Literally, he worked out a 5-point plan on how to break the Lahore fort and re-establish sovereignty which belongs to Dalip Singh through Ranjit Singh. And you know how successful he was getting? Eventually they captured him because somebody sold out, and the guy who he was collaborating with became a sellout actually, which happens. He was so powerful that he was Punjab to Calcutta to ship bitha Singapore le gaye. So ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖਿਓ ਆਰਮੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਆਰਮੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨਾਲ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਬਣ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਤੀਰਥੀਆ ਬਣਾ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਉਹ ਰੈਵੋਲੂਸ਼ਨਰੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਇਹ ਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਥੀ ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬੈਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਆ ਭਗਤੀ ਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਉੱਪਰ Bhakti means devoted, devotion. ਤੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਚ ਆਇਆ ਭਗਤਾ ਤੇ ਸਹਿਸਾਰੀਆ ਜੋੜ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਆਇਆ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੇ ਰੇਅਰਲੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੈਟਾਗੋਰੀਕਲ ਸਟੇਟਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਹੈ ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਬੜੇ ਓਪਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਰਲਡਲੀ ਪੈਰਾਡਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਦੈਟਸ ਵਾਈ Sanota said earlier the worldly and the devoted they will never come together because they operate in different paradigms. तो फिर जब असी कहते हैं जी संतां ने पिंडरां वालियां ने क्यों कीता सानू समझ नहीं आ रही भगतां नहीं पैराडाइज बाणी विचों आओ क्लीयर होगी क्योंकि वो जोड़ आंदा ही नहीं भगतां दे देखो कितना सिंपल है ससारी इज वर्ल्डली वी आर वर्ल्डली वी हैव सो मेनी dilemmas and we have our own fears it's okay we are not condemned never condemn anyone बाणी किसी को condemn नहीं करती बट बाणी इंस्पायर्स अस तासी ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਾਣੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਰਸ ਆਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਫੀਅਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਨਫਰੰਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰੀਏ ਭਗਤ ਮਟ ਜੀਏ ਭਗਤ ਕੌਣ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜੁੜਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਲਾਓ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਫਰੀडम ਦਾ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਸਕਣ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵਾਈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਥਾਊਜ਼ੈਂਡਸ ਆਫ ਭਗਤ ਸੀਗੇ ਮਿਡੀਵਲ ਇੰਡੀਅਨਸ ਥਾਊਜ਼ੈਂਡਸ ਓਨਲੀ 50 ਮੇਡ ਇਟ ਟੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ You should see कि केड़े ने हो radical भगत सैकड़े आज भगत सी संत उन्होंने दिना चो कहा भी जाता है कि academics call that and they try to make Guru Nanak part of the Sant tradition. He's not. They were part of the tradition which organized to also free people. So that's the Bhagats we are. Bhagata ki chaal nirali bani ch jehड़ा है ना वो इतना समझना पैना ਉਹਦੀ ਚਾਲ ਨਿਰਾਲੀ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ whatever the conventional wisdom is they don't do because they're trying to change the conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom has become corrupt. So you have to ulti re bani jo kaliyan ਉਹਨੂੰ disrupt ਕਰਕੇ opposite direction ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I think, can I know one more question because I think we're running out of time.
You think just that one, short one. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਤਖਤ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਲਾਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਅਕਾਲ ਤਖਤ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਰਸਤਾ ਦਿਖਾਇਆ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕੋਈ ਰਸਤਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਡਾਇਰੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕੀਤਾ?
Because I saying kyunki so I have to see where when you give an example jehda loਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ acceptable ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ problem ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. So let's go back to when I'm saying ਕਿ 1805 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੰਮ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੌਣ ਸੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਤਖਤ 'ਚ ਇੰਚਾਰਜ? ਅਕਾਲੀ ਫੂਲਾ ਸਿੰਘ. But this is a great example because when I have been speaking to individuals ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਥically active ਵੀ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਵਰੇਜ ਬੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਨੇ who aspire to do these things, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਲਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਕਾਲੀ ਫੂਲਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਆ, ਪਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲ ਵੀ ਝਾਤੀ ਮਾਰ ਲਓ, ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੀ ਆਉਣ ਨਾ. ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਕੰਸਟੀਚੁਐਂਸੀ ਜਦ ਬਲਾਈਂਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਰਈਆ, ਫਿਰ ਰਾਜਾ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਜਾ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਹੀ ਕੋਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ. ਨਾਓ ਇਨ ਦੈਟ ਸਪੇਸ it is Akali Phula Singh who is running the Panthic affairs from Akal, not the state of Punjab, which is Sikh empire, which Ranjit Singh is doing. And when Ranjit Singh refuses to intervene on moral grounds, Akali Phula Singh fights that. Akal Takht is about morality and ethics. Today we use these words, right? State is not always about morality and ethics, including Sikh state. It can be. His state is a great example of monarchical models in global, right? But ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਅਕਾਲ ਤਖਤ ਦਾ ਲੀਡਰ ਸੀ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ, ਐਂਡ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ. ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ was their flawed, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਰੇ flawed ਆ, but look at his, you know when people say ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਹੋਈ ਰਣਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ 2 ਕੋੜੇ ਮਾਰੇ ਜਾਂ 1 ਕੋੜਾ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਾਰਿਆ, ਸਜ਼ਾ ਹੋਈ